that's been kicked in the nuts by fake news. Nobody knows what to believe.
I don't know what I said.
We need one maverick newsman to cut through all the noise and tell us what's really real.
I'm not that guy.
Here we go. Hello and welcome to Really Real with Richie Redding. I'm Richie Redding, and a very special treat for me personally. Our beloved Robert is on the couch. You're just gonna have to trust me. It probably changes your experience, not at all. But I've got the American Taliban right here. Man, that beard is rough in person, buddy. But glad you're here. So the plan was that Bobby was going to come over and we were going to splash around in the pool later and stuff. But I picked the only day that the weather actually got it right, and it's a fucking monsoon outside. So I had to be a gentleman and go pick you up because I pictured you sitting here like a hitchhiker, just in like wet clothes and shit.
Which is exactly would have happened. I would have been covered in shitty clothes, dripping all over the floor. I would have smelled worse than your dog. So thank you.
Yes, you are very much welcome for that. I didn't want you staining up my shit. But yeah, it's been a doozy of a week. We've got a bunch of hilarious stories to cover in the news. It did not fail us. But I don't know. We've been all over the place. It's been so many personal stories lately. I'm checking in on one thing before we go any further. My TikTok has been hacked, and I also so there's another TikTok. It's Richie Redding 4 on TikTok that is sending a bunch of people that follow me requests, and also letting them get in on the ground floor of a crypto deal. So use your common sense out there, folks. If it doesn't sound like something your old buddy Richie's going to send you, let's just say no. And it's like, I trust and pray that you are safe and well. I don't trust or pray for any of you guys to be safe nor well. So keep that in mind. But dude, I got also. So I don't know if it's connected, but I was in the middle of like a whole bunch of work stuff, and a buddy of mine's Facebook sent me the message of like, "Hey man, I accidentally gave my friend or used your number as a as my Facebook thing. I don't know how I did that, but can you send me the code?" And I did it really quick just to make it go away, and then it was like, "Oh shit!" And I called it and changed everything before, but I think we can all agree this all directly links back to me calling out the entire country of Nigeria for a scam off. I'm still getting at least 100 comments a day of people saying either thanks for the new scam or I'm going to scam you for this. But it's the I'm going to get you sucker Nigeria edition. So yeah, I got to keep my guard up, dude. I can't fucking at no point can I slip up because they are coming for your boy. Oh man, of all the countries to call out the Thunder, like, I mean, there's so many lazy countries. Jamaicans aren't out there scamming people, they're just chopping them up.
It does feel like you called out the champ. Like maybe you should have worked your way up to scamming nations and then ended on.
Right to the top, dude. Right to the fucking top. I've never been in a fight before, but I want you, Tyson Fury. Let's go, Gypsy King. You think it's real how much that guy claims that he jerks off?
No, I think he just says anything for attention these days.
I mean, it's the wildest personal branding in the world that the heavyweight champion of the world says that he jerks off 7 or 8 times a day on top of training. Respect, sir. Respect. But so yeah, that before we get cooking into the stories, there's 2 other things. One of them was absolutely adorable. Was that so? So I'm in downtown Jersey City. Is a suburb of both Mumbai and Beijing, and the majority, the Montessori schools around here all teach like Mandarin. It's that Asian. And but also my life, I think I told you this before, that my one of my metrics in how you're doing in life is how many Asian neighbors you have, but also what generation they are. Like, if it's first gen, you're in the toilet, dude. You are not doing good. But second, third gen, you're doing all right. And right now, got me a Chinese landlord. But so there's this like Montessori school that's all little Asian kids, and uh, it was yesterday. It was like perfect weather, but there must have so I'll save that part. That they're all going down the street. You know how they have like the buddy system of all the kids on a rope, like they're all holding on to the rope, but they're all like stomping all the way down the street, and they're stomping all stomping, boom, and stomping. And it was all these little Chinese kids were chasing lantern flies to stomp them out. It felt like a perfect circle. It's if you guys just went around curing people of COVID, we would really break even on this whole thing. But it was both adorable and effective, but it also seemed like if there was going to be internment camps in 2023, all right, Chinese kids, get this stomping. Just set these fuckers loose on parks. Don't let them get to the trees. They're coming for our trees. So that, and the other thing that I wanted to bring to you, fair listener, uh, was I was having people over on Sunday, so I ran to the shop, right, and got my stuff, but I wanted to pick up ice, and the the ice is always like, completely hard to get to. Like, you got to take like a special trip for the ice, and uh this lady, skinny black chick that was like 50, was in like the self-checkout area, but she wasn't like the one that helps you with it. She was just kind of like waiting in the wings. She had a very extra employee, like, overflow employee kind of feel. And I was like, do I have to go to the ice? And she's like, I'll get it for you. And she like, but she said it like super proper, and then she kind of scurried and comes back with it, and she puts it down, and she's like, I don't think you rung the burgers. And I was like, excuse me, where are you from? And she goes, my parents are from London. It was like, no, but wait, huh? I was like, first of all, I was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm telling this story wrong. First, I was like, no, those are those are right there, and she says like, my parents are from London. I was like, I didn't ask you where you're from, and then she goes, my parents are from London. I was like, wait, huh? I was like, I rang the burgers up, and she's like, I didn't hear them. I was like, you were all the way over there, but I didn't hear them. Like, what is happening here? And then I was like, but wait, where are you from? And she starts to say it again. I was like, no, like, where are you from? She's like, I grew up in Jersey City. Like, okay. I was like, but you hear all the beeps? She's like, yes, I must have been mistaken that I didn't hear the burgers beep. And it went from like, I started off thinking she was a crackhead, and then I thought she was autistic, and now I think she's just retarded. Like, it was, yeah. It like, is that a thing that do our worded people develop foreign accent syndrome?
No. But
But you're off mic right now.
oh, okay.
If your parents are from England and you're of a certain lower intelligence, you're not going to leave the house much. The only people you're going to hear speaking are going to have English accents. Like that's how you're gonna learn.
So you think it's a bubble boy situation? She just wasn't. I don't know. You've got to be exposed to a lot of not British accents if you if you live in Jersey City.
Nurture versus nature. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stumper, but that was so incredibly bizarre. Like when somebody, first of all, black chick with a British accent is always like, wait, what's happening here? Was that when she refused to say that she was from London? Like, I wanted to hit her with like afterwards. I had so many regrets. Wanted to be like, what part of London? Because I have reason to believe they're not from London either. You might just be schizophrenic. But dude, I have never regretted not talking shit more than I do about a story from last week that I fully called. This is so lame. I have no way for you, viewer, listener, to know this. I think you believe me. I think you will trust your boy right here. I called the Carlee Russell thing being bullshit. The chick that got kidnapped. And it was at the end of shit to talk about last week. I went into the fucking Nixon story instead. I didn't want to go overtime, but I promise you I called that this was bullshit from the jump. So for anybody that wasn't following the story, the way that it came to me to me was through Lisa, my girl, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm upset." It was like white girl Instagram took over for old Carlee. She's like, "I'm obsessed with this. Like, all Instagram is talking about how are we going to find this girl?" And she's in Alabama, and the story, just the initial story, without any more of the details, was that she called 911 to tell them that there is a baby on the side of the highway or a toddler on the side of the highway, and then she called her brother's girlfriend to tell her that she found a baby on the side of the highway, and then she went to go check on the baby to make sure that it was okay. And the girlfriend, the brother's girlfriend heard that conversation and then screaming and then highway sounds, right? And that was it. And then for like 48 hours, all of like it was near Birmingham, like all of Alabama police, every fucking amateur podcaster in the world is out there trying to find this girl and trying to solve this shit. But the thing that didn't make any sense from the very beginning of it was that she hung up on 911 to talk to somebody, like anybody other than 911. Because like on the call, they're like, "Okay, can you keep your flashers on?" She's like, "Yeah, they're on." They're like, "Okay, we're gonna send somebody right there." It's definitely, if you're gonna go approach this kid, you do it while 911's on the phone, or you wait until they get there. But you stay on the phone with like a 911, right? There's a baby here. And then the next thing you know is that I think it was Sunday night, they announced that she's been found and she walked home. She like knocked on her parents' door and had been questioned by the police, but didn't want to give a statement. And and the other thing was that what the police found when they showed up was like her car was still running, her phone was there, her AirPods and her wig, but like her wig was like right by the car, which is also a hilarious racial element to it. Like how to fake disappearing a black girl. Whoop. She gone, y'all. And so she wouldn't give a statement. She wouldn't give a press conference or anything, and only spoke through her brother. And her brother said she's been fighting for her life for the last 48 hours. and the only thing that she know that they know is that there was a white man with orange hair, and there was a baby, and she woke up in the like in a semi rig, and there was another female voice that she couldn't hear, and she had struggled, she hadn't been sexually assaulted because she fought so hard, and they didn't put tape over or rope over her arms or wrists because they didn't want her to have any marks on her. And it was already mad sus, but that part of like, wait, so there's nothing, there's no rope marks on you at all. There's no ligature marks. There's no scratch. She was fighting like a motherfucker, and there's nothing on her. And then so it was already like I said to Lisa at first when it happened, I was like, nah, this don't smell right. And then when we got those details, it was like, nah. And then it comes out. Was it? Yeah, it comes out yesterday that the police had, when they searched her phone and her computer, she had looked up the movie Taken. She had looked up how old you have to be for an Amber Alert, or like what the age limit is on an Amber Alert. She searched if you have to pay for a false Amber Alert. She looked up one-way ticket, bus ticket from Birmingham to Charlotte, I believe, or was it Atlanta? She looked up fucking this was the clincher: how to steal money from a cash register without getting caught. Like, yeah, these things combine to be like, But the real reason I knew it was bullshit from the jump was that, well, first of all, my very, very first reaction when she said there was a baby out on the highway, I was like, is this an old Chappelle joke? Ah, the old baby on the corner joke, the old baby on the corner trick, hey? Yeah. So if you're using a baby as bait for the highway, just to try to get a sex slave, like it just feels like feels like the baby on the corner trick. If that's your move, you're going to do it very specifically to somebody, right? Like you're going to set up on this hot chick's house, and she's going to get baby on the corner. But nobody puts baby in a corner, you know this. But like if you just put somebody, if you put, well, first of all, nobody else reported a missing baby or that there was a baby seen. She was the only one that saw this baby and called 911 about it. But like, if you're just randomly putting a baby out there, what are the odds that it's going to be a single female, not a dude, not a family, not a bunch of people? It's going to be a single female of a fuckable age. That's five. That's the extra thing, right? Because you can get a truck full of Gladyses to pull up, and now you got to sex kidnap some old bitch. Like, it just like, oh man, baby, you got a 400-pounder. You're killing me, baby. Do better, baby. Do better. Yeah, be more cuter. But also that you're doing the baby on the corner trick on the side of a highway, really gambling this baby's not just going to fucking run out into the highway. Like, there's so many moving pieces to this scam. There's no way this works.
Where'd she find, or why? How did she not see the semi truck? If she ended up in a semi truck, they just parked it over on the side of the hill where you couldn't see, and they could see the baby.
It was in the woods. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is fun that we're at a point where a black lady in the South can claim false hate crime against a redhead or perpetrated by a redhead. That in itself is definitely progress. But like the cops for basically for like a whole week, the cops were trying to not say that they thought that it was, you know, some kind of misdeed. But the one of the thing the first reason I think that they thought that it was bullshit was because her car, from the time that she called 911 to when it stopped and they got there, she had moved 600 feet. So if you're pulled up behind, you know, this highway baby, and you call the cops, then you hang up and then call your sister-in-law, you know, let's call her that for whatever. It just, you're not gonna roll 200 feet, 200 yards past the baby. You know? Hang in there, baby, I'll come back. You keep my way, homie. You keep my way, homie. Yeah. It all had very Jussie Smollett vibes. And that was another one that I called that from the jump. I was doing a show with I was at the Pair that night, and I saw Kenny Warren, and a bunch of people were all riled up about it. And, you know, it's a lynching and all this shit. And like, I know Kenny well enough that I was like, yo, does this make sense to you, dude? Because there were so many pieces of the Jussie thing that didn't make any fucking sense. First and foremost was the fact that there was white supremacists out to do a hate crime with bleach and a noose at, what was it, 1 a.m, 2 a.m, whatever it was, lady shit, in a polar vortex, and that they recognized Jussie Smollett and said, they said, aren't you that N-word, F-word from Power? And it's like, to make yourself the victim at the same time as making yourself recognizable at 2 a.m. to people that it's like, dude, you're in one camp or the other. You're either a racist, a violent racist, a lynching racist, or you watch Power. Right? Like nobody's sitting around. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's no Venn diagram. That shit does not connect at any point. Nobody's sitting around planning out a hate crime. And it's like, yo, but first, let's watch some old episodes of Moesha. That is so Raven. Get the noose. But the way that I really knew that the Jussie thing was bullshit was because when the cops got there and they had the body cams on, they had to tell him to take the noose off. Well, first of all, that was a bitch ass noose. That noose was it was a bolo tie. It was an AC Slater string tie, a little Texas string tie. It was literally like the rope was that thick. But like, if you were just the victim of a real crime, a hate crime, where these terrible things were said to you by people that were trying to kill you, and they put a noose around your neck, the first thing you would do when that shit was over is get that fucking noose off your neck, right? That it's the equivalent of saying, yeah, the robbers pointed a gun to my head and I fought him off and I got the gun from him and it's still right here. Like, get here as fast as possible because this thing could go off at any second. Get the fuck out of here. Especially a black man in America is going to keep a noose around his neck. Get the fuck out. And then he makes the appearance the next day and said that he was the gay Tupac. I was like, nah, that's something that happens in a movie, bro. I'm sorry. It's a wrap, kid. But the best was I went pretty deep on the. I was into it already with the before the whole thing went pop with the Carlee Russell thing. Still unclear. Talk about progress. Also, still unclear if she's going to get charged with a false police report. We're still not sure about that. That if she gets away with this, that it's basically reparations for Bubble Boy, or no, Balloon Boy, right? The Balloon Boy was the greatest hoax ever, and it was like, because I don't think they got charged. It was like it got written off as shenanigans. So if this black girl can get away with some shenanigans in Alabama, then we have really come a long way. But yeah, all over Reddit and all in the comments and shit. Even after the worm turned, and it's like obviously this was bullshit. So many people are posting like, oh my god, we really have to do something about mental health in this country. Imagine the state of her mental health. What about lying bitch? There's plenty of just lying stank bitches that have perfectly fine mental health. That there's no other indicators of her being mentally ill at all. One fucking iota. There's nothing but her posting thirst traps and shit. Not thirst traps, but like she's flexing in all of her pictures. Yeah. Like what I want to know, the thing that does, the only reason that it seems mentally ill is what did she possibly think she had to gain from it other than if she had some kind of plan to sell the story, right? Like, because I mean, as my very first instinct was this is going to be a podcast. Other than this is bullshit. It was like this is a podcast,
or like a publicity stunt or something. But maybe she robbed that register and needed to figure out how to disappear. It wasn't that one of the Google searches, like how to rob a safe or a register without getting caught?
Yeah, but I mean, this is a pretty drastic way to. It was. She works at a spa. Like, she didn't get away with like a bank.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying, based on what we know about her, the rest of the plan, maybe she didn't put a lot of thought into the how much money I'm going to be running away with.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I have a feeling that's going to sound like shit when you talk through that on here. But
we'll make it.
All right. Yeah. Imagine, imagine. And look, she had a Benz truck or a Benz SUV. I mean, it might have been 96, but still, like, yeah. I mean, and actually, I think in Birmingham, a 96 is pretty new. But yeah, dude, just the headspace of like, I'm gonna go missing for the money that a spa made in one day in cash. Like, that's not a big cash business, dude. How much could she possibly have walked with to fucking disappear herself for 2 days? And also to think that this isn't going to come back up. I think she's just a dumb asshole with perfectly good mental health. But I mean, let's keep going. We've got an attempt at a conspiracy theory is in the works. I don't know if you're following the Obama's personal chef. Oh yeah, buddy. So this was the tweet that turned me onto this was breaking: body found in search for black male paddleboarder 43 who drowned in pond on Obama's Martha's Vineyard estate. 911 call was made from ex-president's $12 million property last night from the Daily Mail online. This is Liz Crokin. Nothing to see here. Everyone knows about the Clinton body count. It's time we start discussing the Obama body count. And then she doesn't go on to discuss the Obama body count because it's like one. But they're trying so hard to make a conspiracy out of this that and I think the guy's actually 45, but opening is that he he disappeared while out in the water with another paddleboarder, and now his body has been found in Edgerton Great Pond. It's understood that the dispatch address for the incident was Barack Obama's $12 million Martha's Vineyard home. But dude, the comments around this are like, it's all that it's like, oh, he obviously saw something that he wasn't supposed to see. Nothing to see here. Oh, I wonder if it was Big Mike, which is the really insane, fucking completely red pilled term for Michelle Obama. That there's really people that think that Michelle Obama is a dude. like really, really think this. It's not just a fun troll. They actually think this. But I mean, is this the biggest mystery in the world? It also, I saw one thing with it was an interview with his wife that said he wasn't the strongest swimmer. And it's like, how big of a mystery is this? You got a black dude that can't swim on a paddleboard at night with no fucking with no life vest, and it's supposedly choppy water. And also, there a lot of the comments were like, oh, they couldn't find him. Why couldn't they find him? He was wearing black trunks and a black top. He had like a rash guard on. That's a hard dude to find.
Was he known for paddleboarding in all black at night? That would be where I'd start to look at the conspiracy some.
I don't know, but they're doing a toxicology report on him, which is interesting because that's not something that would normally happen for for this kind of death, you know. But it's like, okay, maybe he was drunk and went out there. But I mean, I've been on paddle boards at night. That it is very easy. Paddleboarding is exceedingly easy, and they are extremely stable. But I mean, if you fall off and you can't fucking swim, and I've also just happened to have good balance, and I've been on these types of things my whole life. You know, I've been doing that type of shit for 35 years probably. But I mean, look, not everything's you know, I love a conspiracy, but like people die, right? Like the Reagan administration, you don't hear about their conspiracies. At least half of those motherfuckers are dead. There's a lot. The whole Garfield administration. You haven't heard one thing about the Garfield body count. That Buchanan.
What aren't they telling us about that Garfield body count? You're right. We haven't heard anything.
All I know about Garfield was that he hates Mondays. And loves lasagna. But yeah, the comments are very, very fun with people really just trying so hard to make something out of that. And like, and also there's just this obsession with the $12 million aspect of the property. It's like, dude, the second you're not the president anymore, unless you're Trump, you get $1 million out of clip in order to just show up and, you know, say hi to the dickheads at Enron. Like, it's really hard to fuck that up for yourself unless you're Trump, but you don't need that because the Saudis will just give you $1 billion instead. But I am very excited about the next election just to see how buck ass wild Trump goes. Dude, I mean, he's been fucking he's been the greatest puncher of all time already. And that was when he was just plain old regular ass trying to become the president. And now he's either going to become the president or he's going to federal prison for the rest of his life. Let's go. This dude's throwing punches in bunches, dude. It's going to be wild. I mean, he's just, if there's ever a debate, he's just going to tell Biden to suck his dick. Just, oh, it's going to be unfucking bridled, bro. I can't wait for this shit. But speaking of Biden, a fun thing happening there is that the 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 result of when he fell on that sandbag, you know, when he but when he did that, uh also you keep hearing people like, you know, I'll tune into MSNBC. I did at that time, and they said like they both downplayed it and said that it was scary. It was like a scary moment. Like, it shouldn't be scary. It should be an oopsie, but it shouldn't be a potential life-threatening injury if you fall from your feet. Like, if you fall from however tall you are, if that's how far your head just went, should not kill you. Right. So, but yeah, MSNBC was all about this shit. It was that Morning Joe Nika bitch was saying that she did this whole rant about how it's the job of the president's aides to better protect him from this kind of potential embarrassment, and to keep, you know, to make sure that they're like, you know, keeping him out of dangerous situations, and making sure that that he knows exactly where he is at all times and who he's talking to. So the result has been, since that, which also is basically her saying, hey, you need to help lie better, right? You need to keep the secret of how fucked up this dude is, so that we, the press, the mainstream media, can help promote this bullshit that this guy's doing totally fine, and that we're not dragging a carcass across the finish line again. But so the result of that has been two things, which is there's a picture, there's actually a bunch of pictures of huge cue cards, like, you've seen it, like it's like you just won the publisher sweepstake, but it tells him where he is and who he's talking to. Like, dude, that big. Like, I mean, I could see one of these. Yeah, yeah, a little. But if your job is to be basically like a fucking street sign, and you're a fucking presidential aide, just stretching that shit out, it's wild, dude. And then the other thing that they're doing is they got him coming out of the Air Force One at a different spot. So there's belly steps that are like half the distance. And supposedly before that fall, I'm paraphrasing the numbers, but it was like around 30% of the time he would use that, and now it's like 87% of the time he's using the shorter steps, just so that he has less steps to deal with. But that's not what we need as a country. What we need to really feel confident is to put my man in the stair chair and just how great would that be, dude? If we just said, if he's got off doing, take the echo off there. If Biden is in Japan or some shit, he bows goodbye and just takes off up the steps, but bowing the whole time. Oh fuck, man, it's wild.
It's a fine line, because like I'm sure that's somebody's job the whole time, right? To tell people, politicians, this is where you're at, this is who you're talking to. But at what point do you go, I think I'm telling him this too often? And when you have to pull out cue cards where everybody else in the room can see you have no idea what you're doing, the charade's over. Like, everybody knows FDR's in a wheelchair at this point. The game should be over.
Yeah, interesting use of charade. Charade.
Small.
Is not a
Charade.
charade.
Charade, charade.
Listeners, We want to hear from you about this. Sound off in the comments. Is it a charade or is it a charade?
I think the verb is charade.
You bougie. But yeah, supposedly the only other president to really consistently use the belly steps was JFK, because despite being our handsomest president, he was also shot through with disease, and he had massive I think it was kidney problems, but he also had like crazy chronic lower back pain. So they tried to keep him out of like walking in public in general, and a lot of times, and also he got like the same shot. He basically got like the Hitler shot, which is a great part of what's his face, Keith Richards' book Life. That when they were touring, there was multiple times when the whole band was just completely run down from the tour, and they had this German doctor, like in the 60s. There was a German doctor that was in Turkey that would meet them in the airport, and they called him Dr. Feelgood, and he would just blast every one of the Stones. Like they wouldn't even have to get off their plane. He would just blast each of them with a shot, and they would be off for 5 days. Like, that's some good vitamins right there, boy. That'll be so fucking dope, dude. Anybody got the hookup on them Hitler drugs? Sound off in the comments. We want to hear from you. It's just vitamins. My parents, they're from London. We're having fun, Bobby. But what the fuck else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, I want to get back to Biden stuff, but there's some pretty funny shit. But where are we on time? Oh yeah, we're cruising, baby. This was pretty great. That there's a way too loud starting this. I gotta start at like 30 seconds. The Just Stop Oil activists get a taste of their own medicine. Undercover journalists posing as eco activists disrupted a banquet held for the climate protesters, releasing alarms attached to the balloons in the banquet hall, situated in a church with very high ceilings. The results. This is going to sound horrendous. I apologize, but dude,
with the mole in place, we sent
these
in
things
the
are
team.
60.
Good luck, boys.
There's nothing better than fucking well,
with the mole in place, we sent in the team.
I'm going to turn that off. But whenever it's a super lo-fi way to cause major havoc, I just fucking love it. There's a thing one time. I want to say it was in Philly, but it was drug dealers that it was like corner boys, and they had a big ass stash of balloons. And well, yeah, they had a big ass stash that they were selling of the shit they were selling for the day. And when the cops came, they just cut it, and all the crack just went in the sky. Like the cops aren't allowed to just fucking shoot something out of the sky because that shit's going to come down. But yeah, doing that to the climate activists is so fucking like the most annoying people in the world. There's somebody there with a harp, and they just set off like a dozen fire alarms at the same time. Oh, it's so good. I love it. But where was I? Oh yeah, that and so that that as a troll. Have you ever seen the neighbors of Westboro Baptist Church? A gay rights activist group bought a house, and it's a year-round gay haunted house that has gay raves and like dudes just gaping their assholes in the general direction of Westboro Baptist Church. It is just so good. But yeah, loaf. I've always thought that's like the most impressive shit of the lo-fi way to beat something that in Afghanistan. I don't think I ever talked about this before. In Afghanistan, when we first started looking for Bin Laden, it just when we were like fighting the Taliban in general, there was it was super easy to just get heat signatures and just hellfire raining down on them from the drones. And what they started doing was taking camping stoves and they put them all over the Tora Bora Mountains and just leave them lit. And like somebody would run back, once a week or something and like put new butane in it. But it completely neutralized the most high tech heat seeking missiles in the world with a $15 camping stove. Something to it. But yeah, let's catch up with our girl Ghislaine in jail. She looking a little rough, but this is very exciting on two fronts. That she has a pen pal. There's a mysterious British pen pal that she has, which is really neat for her, I think. And also, she is this part's actually hilarious. Is that the convicted sex trafficker 61 has few close companions in FCI Tallahassee, where inmates have branded her a Karen. Which, if there's a greater like a reduction of what somebody is, a Karen, like no, honey. I'm the most sophisticated sex trafficker this country's ever seen. I'm global, baby. I got the Mossad behind me. Karen, the fuck out of here. But and then so they either call her Karen or Chomo. And she's made besties with Monique Brandy, a ruthless financial predator who swindled millions from her family and friends to fund her lavish lifestyle and gambling addiction. Hell yeah. That's nice. That's a nice little buddy movie in the works right there. But the only reason I brought that up is that I kind of stopped talking about our boy Jeffrey just because it feels so obvious as to what what it was at this point. But JP Morgan is now settling. They're coughing up a crazy amount of money. It's like $210 million because of their continued ties with him. But it's a settlement, so it's not an admission of guilt. But it's now obvious that that Jamie Dimon directly knew about it. So and they decided to settle 2 days. So it was like a month ago or whatever, but he got deposed, and then 2 days so after you get deposed, like, oh, I got this, and then they called him back for further questioning, and that day they settled and just came up with this wild number of 210 million. But now it looks like but he was still insulated. And so let me just read this passage. That many emails over JP Morgan email between Staley and Epstein. And so Staley, he's 66, led JP Morgan's asset management business from 2001 to 2009 and its corporate investment bank from 2009 to 2013. Ran it. He later spent 6 years as Barclays chief executive. JP Morgan is separately suing Staley to cover its losses in the lawsuit filed by the USVI and Epstein victims, claiming he concealed what he knew about the disgraced financier and internally vouched for him. Staley has acknowledged being friendly with Epstein, but denied knowing about his sex trafficking, accusing JP Morgan of using him as public relations shield to deflect blame for his own failures in working with Epstein. Epstein had been a JP Morgan client from 1998 until the bank terminated him in 2013, years after his 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor for sex in the Florida state case. But the emails are it's like it's outrageous shit that it's like, yeah, going over. I'll be back at Jeffrey's. Don't know how old they are. Yeah, like, ha ha ha. It's like, yeah, he likes the young ones. LOL. But it's literally like that obvious, and it's stuff going directly to JP Morgan, or I'm sorry, to Jamie Dimon, and also his number two, who's some chick that's also like clearly involved. And the idea that they don't know who, like, because what he was always kind of saying in the depositions, from what I gather, was he was just like, yeah, we knew we had we tangentially knew of him, like that he had accounts with us, but he wasn't like an important person to us. And he had up to like $700 million with him. And the odds of not knowing somebody that had upwards of $1 billion, which even for them, it's like at the time it was probably 1% of what you have, right? Like it, from my own personal experience at TD Bank, if at the point when you have like the difference between having $5 grand in the bank and $100 grand in the bank of how they treat you is unbelievably fucking different. Imagine it's $700 million and you're going over your balance sheet like, yeah, I don't need to meet that guy. Like, wait, what the fuck does this guy do? Right? And that is the first thing they ask once you like have somewhat of a sizable account. What do you do? Oh, I'm a man of mystery. I'm a professional man of mystery. But yeah, so I think that is really interesting. The fact that they settled like that, but also Virgin Islands, so that piece of it where JP Morgan is suing this guy Staley, as is the US Virgin Islands independently suing that guy. As if they, so like, there a lot of hay got made and a lot of ink was spilled about the prosecutor getting fired like a week after she brought that case in the U.S. Virgin Islands against J.P. Morgan, of people thinking like, oh, it's for going after them. I think it's because she was about to actually go internally in the U.S. Virgin Islands, because very much, even 1,000 times more, in the same way that that there's no way that the higher ups in JP Morgan didn't know about Epstein. Virgin Islands had a guy that bought this fucking island, who was landing once a week, sometimes with Bill Gates, but obviously with underage girls that he's bringing in and out constantly, that maybe or probably didn't get checked by customs a lot of the times. You have to go through customs when you go to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Even if you're a citizen, you have to go through the process, right? So somehow nobody in the Virgin Islands itself ever said, hey, this is weird, right? And how much money this guy's kicking around town, how much money he's paid off officials or whatever. Like, that to me is probably the guiltiest group of people in the whole thing, was the actual on the ground officials in the Virgin Islands. There's no way. And even like the groundskeeper there said before, he was like, yeah, we were always told to keep a distance, but yeah, we would definitely see young girls with the tops off. Like, and the difference, motherfucker, between a 20-year-old and a 13-year-old. There's no way you don't know that. All right, this got weird. Yeah. All right, back to our boy Biden. Fuck. There's another fun story that Aaron Hernandez's brother. Did you hear about this? He was apparently planning a school shooting at Brown, and then he got stopped and tried to pull a suicide by cop, but instead got tased. But he was, and he also like bricked the window of ESPNU. He was the dude went completely off the deep end and was out to get anybody that ever made money off of his brother, like, or his brother's story, like the Patriots, Netflix. You're gonna fucking try to get them, but yeah, he just got. I feel like there's gonna be more fun details of this to dig into, but he just got tased instead. And is there a bigger dick tease than when you're trying to commit suicide by cop and you just get the voltage? Come on, man.
You shouldn't have done it at Brown. They're going to be a lot calmer there. I feel like because it's Ivy League students, they typically take themselves out. They're aware of suicide by cop. Like if you did it somewhere in New York City, you might have had a better.
No, I think it was Massachusetts police that actually did it. But yeah, no, yeah, that would be a great list of top 5 cities to commit suicide by cop. Are you looking to take yourself out? Well, we'll do it for you. We got a bunch of cops with an itchy finger, and they're just looking for some off time. So come on down to Minneapolis. Yeah, I think we all know Minnesota is open for business in terms of suicide by cop.
Team just hasn't been the same since Chauvin retired.
Yeah. Oh God. Did he retire? I don't know if that was a retirement so much as put out the pasture on that. But jumping around back to our boy Biden, I forgot to mention this one. This is a fun thing to think about. Since we're talking about Air Force One, I wonder who the last president was to get his dick sucked on Air Force One. And I feel like Clinton almost doesn't count. Everybody, you obviously go to Clinton, yeah. But there's no way Hillary was sucking his dick.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, you got too many snitches around there. Obviously, he couldn't get a BG under the fucking Resolute desk.
You may have to go back to Kennedy.
Well, let's not forget, Nancy Reagan was a notorious suck machine back in her day. Like Frank Sinatra, I believe it was, said that she gave the best blowjob ever. Which is so wild, dude. Getting down from Nancy Reagan. I would love to think that in his late 70s, just full of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, he wouldn't know not to ask.
Yeah, right. Because there's a bed in there, dude, for the president. Like that's some baller shit. There's no way George W. Could Obama got his dick sucked? No, because he was too much of a nerd. He was just too.
And if he got busted, like they were just waiting for anything to get him on. He had to play it squeaky.
Yeah, for sure. There's no way Melania has touched Trump's dick since Barron.
Not willing to say he didn't get a blowjob on Air Force One, though. It's a possibility. It would just be tough to think somebody on.
No way. Dude, RFK would. He's all full of TRT. Cheryl Hines is pretty down. This is why we need him, just so we can bring suck jobs back. How great would that be? Look, I'm gonna end the vaccines at day 1. Get my cock sucked in the air, 35,000 feet, by a famous bitch. My fucking wife is famous. Suck my cock. But yeah, dude, the funniest thing in the news this week was that Biden's dog has, where is it? But it's Biden's dog. Secret Service says Biden's stupid German Shepherd rescue dog Commander would have already been put down if it wasn't his. If it wasn't his, after biting 7 people in 4 months, sending an agent to the hospital. Biden's dog Commander has been involved in 10 incidents since the end of 2022. Emails reveal he has bitten agents' legs and arms, forcing medical treatment. Officers called the dog freaking crazy and argue he would be put down already if he didn't belong to the Bidens. Dude, this really is America's family at this point, man. Come on, you got a 53-year-old crackhead son. There's an unknown, literally, they don't know how many Bidens are living in the White House. They're like fucking gypsies. Like Ashley's living there. There might be one of the other sisters because it's cashing in on the thing that Trump started, which is no more sign-ins at in the West Wing. Everybody used to be completely tracked, and they don't do that anymore, thanks to him. But conspiracy theory: what if Commander was finding cocaine on the floor and just getting all bitey? Dude, German Shepherd on blow, good night. That is literally the Hitler shot, dude. They're fucking going ham. I absolutely love the idea that the Secret Service, who already has this shitty job that you gotta fucking, I mean, it's the only job where you're expected. If you don't die for somebody, you're a pussy. If you don't die for your boss, who gives a fuck about their boss enough to die for them? And then you're just going to be a legendary pussy for the rest for eternity. You will go down as the guy that didn't take the dive. So they don't already have that pressure on them already. But now they've got a feral, coked up German Shepherd roaming the grounds, and they're not allowed to take this thing. They have guns, and they've just got to take a fucking vicious Nazi dog attack. And they can't just cap this motherfucker. Oh, it's so good. And the best part is that this is the second rescue German Shepherd. The first one really fucked somebody up in like the first week in office. That was major. Well, no, he got rehomed. But if anybody knows my old podcast, We Don't Deserve Dogs, every comedian had a dog when they were a kid that their parents sent to a farm. They smoked that dog. I guarantee you, they fucking shredded your boy Major. And now Commander, now you can't kill 2 dogs off. Yeah. Yeah. So now they are stuck with the Hunter Biden of dogs. I love this whole fucking white trash family. It's great. And there's also a whole thing. I'm gonna get out of here, but there's also a new thing that and it's supposed to be coming out. There's gonna be a special about it on Shark Week. That sharks are getting into the bales of cocaine that they get thrown overboard by drug cartels. And there's now coked up sharks ravenously fucking swimming around the ocean looking for more, which, I mean, if there's been a more natural sequel to the Cocaine Bear, I don't know what it is, but it's the perfect analog to that. There was in the 80s, there's the legend in Central Park of the crack squirrel, that supposedly there was like pockets of Central Park that were just known for crackheads lighting up, and the squirrels would go there and they would eat the bags. They would eat the baggies that the crack came in, and they were just super aggressive crack squirrels. So imagine a crack squirrel could swim. and it's got big fucked up teeth. And that is coming to you on Discovery pretty soon. Keep your ass out the water unless you've got that cocaine. I'm Richie Redding, and that's really real. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Please hit like and subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your friends, all that shit. It's great. I love doing this. I hope you enjoy listening. And please shame Bobby for saying charade like a fagoot. But this is so fun. Really real. Peace. We're out.
In a world that's been kicked in the nuts by fake news, nobody knows what to believe.
I don't know what I said.
We need one maverick newsman to cut through all the noise and tell us what's really real.
I'm not that guy.